April 2nd, 2026. It is early in the morning, so hopefully no neighbor dogs, no neighbors driving by will be in the background. I am blocked by our truck from where I normally start out in the street for these, but looking side to side, this front garden has just filled in like crazy. I can't believe in April it's already this full. This is kind of my perennial long-term garden, and so yeah, this is the year that it's just deciding to leap, I guess, the sleep, creep, leap process. So roses that I just keep making cuttings and sticking them in the ground, and then they root, have Egyptian walking onions and daylilies and irises, and actually the marshmallow plant in there. Is that what it is? Or hibiscus? Something like, it's in the same family, so I'm not totally sure. It's either one that I planted from seed or that Janice gave me one. Either way, I use it for tea, but that's actually coming back from the base, and I didn't think it would do that, so that's awesome. These are my Rose of Sharon. I have one on either side. And looking back at like the first round of videos I did and photos that I took when we moved in, these were maybe 8 inches tall, out in the middle of the grass, little babies. So they're established and doing well. I moved from my clump of lilies in the corner up here at the front that came from one lily. Moved them along the sidewalk once they were dead, like dead for the winter and cut back. So they've taken, and I'm gonna have a row of lilies to walk through in the front. That's fun. My asparagus decided to come back this year like crazy. So I've got asparagus coming up everywhere, and I totally missed it, which I normally do with asparagus. It's normally like a little shrimpy thing sticking out of the ground a little bit, and then it's too big. So there's more over here. But yeah, so just mixed in with the flowers and things, I have asparagus, because that's easy and perennial. Under the mulberry tree are strawberries, and I was starting to dig them up and separate them because they've gotten a little crowded, but then they just started shooting up and flowering. So I think I'm going to leave them alone for now until they fruit, and then start digging up and separating them some more. The mulberry trees are setting little fruits. This one's harder to see, so we'll look at the one that's got lower branches. All the roses are coming back. This is just going to be a really pretty sidewalk to walk down when it's in full bloom. This is the rudbeckia that was a mystery plant apparently, and was supposed to be an annual, and comes back with a vengeance every year, and now I have it separated to multiple places in the yard. The flowers on this will get tall, like taller than me, and the bees love it, and it stresses out my mail lady so much, but she still brings our mail. So up at the front here with the rain barrels is Egyptian walking onions, some daisies, daylilies, daffodils. I can't remember that one's name. I will by the time we get to the backyard, because I have more back there. The fig tree, this was my original fig tree that came with us when we moved. That was a little guy. I could actually put a Rubbermaid tub over him in the winter. He was so little, to keep him warm. But so it's actually got fruit on it already. This is just waiting to bloom. I'm pretty sure this is the original rose that all the other ones along the sidewalk are cut from, based on how like there's a little bit of red around the leaves when they first open up, and it looks similar to the ones. So these are my, I need to water them, but these are my curb alert mums that someone had thrown out at the end of the fall season when they were changing over to Christmas decor. And I stopped with a van full of kids and threw as many as would fit in the back of my van, because free mums. So there's the other side of the walkway. I need to cut back the monkey grass, the dead layer monkey grass, because the fresh is trying to come through, so it would help it if I cut back the dead part. This is the hazelnut. The other one is in the back, and it looks similar. I cannot get it to focus on things up close. I'm terrible at this. But it might do something this year. I think they have to be a little closer to actually fruit. So I'm going to move the other one up here. I planned to do that anyway. But that's exciting. I might actually get hazelnuts. This is where I had a bird feeder sitting right there. And now the brighter green things are all sunflowers. So I'm gonna have to dig those up and move them somewhere that they won't get mowed over, because I love sunflowers. I can't remember what this is called, but I got a cutting from the one in my mom's yard. It's variegated, so I love it. And I thought it had died over the winter, but it came back. I got this from the Friends of the Arboretum plant sale, and I can't remember what it's called either, but it was one that I really wanted, and I was really sad that I thought it had died, so I'm glad it came back too. Eventually I'll remember what it is. This, I'm gonna be careful, is all of my stinging nettle, and it has definitely naturalized and started spreading even over there. I put these big chunks of sidewalk, actually, is what they are, in the grass, just on top of the grass, so that we could step over them hopefully without stepping through the stinging nettle too much. We'll see. But we really shouldn't be, it's really just for me, we really shouldn't be cutting through there. This is the fig that I got from my brother-in-law. This one took a little bit of a beating when it got cold again, but it does have some little fruits on it. Up here, I cut back the blackberries and just stuck a few of them in the ground, so we'll see if any of them take. I do have the wild blackberries trying to come up everywhere. That's what all this lovely green is. I do not play with those because they're really thorny, and I have enough here. I have enough of these that are the thornless ones that make huge berries. I don't need to tolerate the really thorny ones, so I'll dig all those up. That is, I'm hoping that it is not the black-eyed Susans. I'm hoping it is the echinacea that I got from my friend Patrice. The problem is I did have black-eyed Susans over here also, and they spread all over the place, but I know this is where the coneflower was. This is where the echinacea was. So I'm hoping that's what it is. Rose, daylily, etc., etc. I thought my beautyberry was not going to come back, but it has finally decided to wake up. So that's good and bad, because I didn't think ahead when I started planting all these things. If you look back this way, and when you pull back with the van, you can't see the street because of all my healthy growth on my bushes. So that's got to get moved. I'm gonna have to do a lot of surgery. I'm gonna put my coffee mug down on the fence and hopefully not forget it. We'll see. That's a loropetalum. Actually, that's a cutting that I rooted from the two little ones, and I think they're supposed to be dwarf or something. I'm not sure. Those are a lot shorter, and this one's a much younger, and it's as tall as the peach tree. So, and half the peach tree did die this winter. I don't know if it's supposed to do that, or if this just got too cold. I'm not sure. But this is all the new growth, like from last year, and it is covered in little peaches. So I've got to figure out how to keep deer off of it, because I lost all my peaches to deer last year. This is a mess of branches that I'm saving because my mom bought a wood chipper. More asparagus, bee balm, blueberry, and that is actually a really pretty one. The rest of my blueberries have redder leaves, and these are like a bluey purple. I'm not sure what variety it is that makes it do that, but it's beautiful. Iris, it's the only one of my irises that's trying to bloom. This is a mulberry. This is another red mulberry here. And then this one is the white mulberry. This one I liked a lot. They aren't quite as sweet as the purple ones, but they were good and they were neat looking. So, and there's the big mulberry. This is the one that I ordered cuttings off Amazon and rooted them at our old house, and it moved here in a big pot. And there's a really funny picture of it tied to an armoire in the back of our truck, trying to move it to this house. This is my tea camellia, which is not dying. So it was dying, and then it decided to stop dying, and I'm happy about that. Blueberry, covered in blossoms. It's gonna be so good. This is the Nanking cherries. This one is only a year behind that one, but man, that makes a difference. However, it's still covered in cherries, if it'll focus on it. So if you can see, it's cut all the little fruits. So I learned that it is technically a plum, like a micro plum. and that is exactly what it tastes like. I heard, when I heard Lee Wright talking about like people either love it or hate it, and I was like, that's a weird reaction to a fruit. But if you're expecting a cherry taste and you bite it and it's a plum taste, it is. It's weird. But we love plums. This is something that past me left for now me, and I'm gonna have to figure it out. But this is a swamp rose. There's one that's not that's tucked in here, that was supposed to be a white John F. Kennedy rose. It's clearly something hot pink instead. And then this was a swamp rose that I got from my aunt's house, and next to her house it was this tiny little bush. But I knew it was a climber, so I was like, cool, I'll put it next to a trellis on the side of my house. And it's eating this. I've got to do something with it. So it's very happy where I put it. So that's, you know, it is what it is. This on the other side is my Chickasaw plum tree, and it's gotten a lot bigger this year. I don't remember where I got this. I'm trying to remember. I might have gotten it from the Arboretum as well. I don't remember. It's hard to focus on it, but it does have the little, it bloomed like crazy. And I've pulled off a couple of the little dead flower things. I try not to do that because I've accidentally been pulling the plums off when I do that. But it does have some that got pollinated. If you can, I don't know if it'll focus. But they're like, I pulled that one off successfully. So maybe I'll get plums from it this year. I think that's wild lettuce. I'm leaving it alone because I hope it's wild lettuce. And if so, I would like to have some in my yard that I can come to. That is a peony that has already gotten decapitated once by my husband, but it came back, so that's okay. This is a hardy kiwi. I think it tried to set fruit last year, but it needs a second, so I'm on the hunt for a second. I've actually bought 3, and that's the only one that's still alive, so maybe I have to buy 3 more. That is valerian. That is evening primrose. I've got a ton of it along here. There's some up at the front because it's definitely a weed, and it definitely makes itself at home. So I don't need quite this much, but I think I found a tea blend that can use the leaves and not just the oil from the seed pods, because that's normally what you use, is evening primrose oil, which from what I read was the oil from the seed pods being crushed. I don't want to do all that, but I'll use the leaves. This is elderberry. Good morning, buddy. There's a neighbor dog. Big elderberry patch. Always have too much elderberry. I'm going to try to use up what I have that's dried from last year at the Spring Expo. Fall gold raspberries. Hops. I'm trying to move the fall gold raspberries. I've been digging up chunks of it that root because I don't think it likes it here. It's never fruited. And it's also competing real hard with the hops. All of that is goldenrod, which is fine because I use it a lot. I use it for us and for my rabbits. Actually, one of our rabbits gets the sneezes, and so my kids know where the goldenrod is to go get leaves for her. My grandmother's hydrangea, happy, doing well, hopefully going to bloom. But it is very happy in this spot. All the ferns that we got from my friend's house have taken really well. I think I rooted this one from that one. I think that's what that is. So I'll have 2 hydrangeas on my patio, which is going to be glorious. Yeah, ferns filling out. They weren't this big last year, so hopefully that means they're getting happier and their roots are getting deeper. That is my little Japanese maple. This doesn't work the way I want it to as a pond, so I'm going to change gears with it and just add a smaller liner to have fish and a water the water feature in, and then the rest I'll fill back in and have like a bog garden. It'll still be pretty. It'll just be a smaller part of it that's water. And then that is the other hazelnut. So clearly much smaller than the one in the ground. The roots are coming out the bottom of the pot. It really needs to go in the ground. I thought it had died, so I had kind of given up on it. Waiting to see if the lemongrass will come back. I'm not sure. But it might. So it'll sit right there in its pot till I know for sure it's not coming back. I think I did this yesterday, but passion flower is coming up. Didn't know if it was coming back or not. Fig that was not supposed to stay here. That's definitely going to stay here now. And then I have raspberry coming up everywhere. So I initially planted it right here to go on the archway here. And it's shooting out runners everywhere. So I don't mind that one. There are some on the other side of the fence I'm going to dig up and put in pots or move. Oh, what is that? Lobelia. That I found. It's a good medicinal plant. And so I found it at a nursery and immediately told all my friends and had to buy it. Sunflowers. My chickens are mad because they can't get out of their coop because I figured out where they were getting out. Bee balm, cramp bark. Hopefully you're being that dramatic because you're laying an egg right now. Roses that my rabbits like to eat. They don't, they're not real thorny like on the branches. I don't know what kind they are. They're not what I thought they were, and it made me mad, and I was going to pull them out because I do not like their blooms. But the rabbits love them. They just have a little bit of tiny thorns on the very back where the leaves are. So, but they love it. So, dwarf pear. When I start digging up, and I get this area cleaned up, when I start digging up the strawberries from the front yard, they will go, some of them will go back here around this pear tree because my grandma had a pear tree with strawberries under it in her backyard. So I want to do the same thing. That's my zucchini rampicante squash. It normally eats whatever space you give it, and last year it kind of ate my entire garden. I had one plant and it went all the way down all the arches. And just there was just those squashes everywhere. So, but I love it. It's a great food. It starts tasting like a zucchini when it's smaller, and then it like kind of tastes like a pumpkin. I'm trying to remember the order. It goes zucchini, pumpkin, potato, or zucchini, potato, pumpkin. Either way, I like diced it up and roasted it, and it tasted like a potato one of the ways I tried it. And I also ended up like scooping some of it out and roasting it, and it was like a pumpkin. It was great. So I'm a big fan. It's 3 plants in one. I'll keep growing it, but this year I'm containing it back here, and I'm giving it this poor busted up umbrella frame that a storm destroyed the top of, and maybe it can grow and be a zucchino rampicante umbrella. It might work. We'll see. Yarrow and feverfew. I've got feverfew everywhere. Oregano. A blueberry that's doing absolutely nothing. So I might move it. Or I might just leave it and go, okay, it's not doing it this year. Maybe it's, but it is bigger than it was last year. So maybe it's just getting established. This was supposed to be squash beds. So sugar pie pumpkin, I threw in the noodle beans here for this arch. And then Burgess buttercup, Long Island cheese. And then I threw in some carbon tomatoes. Because why not? I have room-ish. That's horseradish that came back from last year. Apparently it can get invasive. So, and it did sprout a little baby over here. So I might dig that up and separate it and move it. But I do like having horseradish root for fire cider. So if I can have my own, that's obviously ideal. The roses back here are actually my favorite. They're a pretty cream color rose. Well, no, my favorite is at the very front that I have to move, and I'm hoping it doesn't die. Also a cream colored rose, but they're really pretty. They're actually the colors they were supposed to be. There are raspberries in here and blueberries in here as well. I wanted like an edible border here with my neighbor, and also the roses have rose hips on them, which I use a lot in fire cider as well. So all my peppers right now are in pots so that I can overwinter them. I'm going to try that again. I planted blue Hopi flower corn in here, so we'll see if I can do corn. I might have to feed it with rabbit poop throughout the season. I have not tried corn in many, many years, so we'll see. Tomatoes, tomatoes, tomatoes. My stevia is in the corner. This is the scarlet runner beans, and actually I put 3 in, and 2 of them looked so sad that I went and took another one out of the greenhouse and put it in here, so maybe I'll have 2 that make it. Concord grape is in the ground, and in the fabric pot next to it is a raspberry that I pulled a piece of when we were on a hike in Black Mountain, North Carolina, before Hurricane Helene happened and everything got washed out. So that is very special to me, and I'm glad it's still alive, and I'm going to find a special place for that. So there's a walkthrough video from, I can't remember, a couple of years ago of this blackberry when it was maybe as tall as the bird feeder, and I had just like pruned it and stuck it in right there that year, and I was happy that it had come back. And it is so big now that I had to create you can barely see it, but an archway for it, because otherwise it flops over into the walkway. So more tomatoes, of course, and then also in this bed are potatoes that will never go away. I do have some seed potatoes, but I kind of like my volunteer ones. More tomatoes. These are the vintage ones. These are so far, my absolute favorite tomato. So we'll see. I planted some other ones this year that are supposed to be good, so we'll see if they get removed from their throne. This is lemon balm. I thought I was totally out of lemon balm, so I got some from my friend Haley, and it turns out I was not totally out of lemon balm, but I'm also not mad at it because we use so much lemon balm tea, and I'm going to definitely pick a bunch of it to dry for the Spring Expo as well, to make some tea blends for people to buy. So yeah, these are the little beds here are basically all tomatoes except for the lemon balm, and eventually that lemon balm is just going to take over. It'll be the lemon balm little rectangle, and then the potatoes that are there by accident. So, but lots of tomatoes. This bed is okra over there, okra over here. So when they get, hopefully they'll get big and tall, and so here, I'll turn around. When you walk in at the end of these first beds, you'll have big, tall okra plants with blooms on them, because their blooms are just beautiful. So that's my hope. And then underneath the tall things and the trellis, I have zucchini and crookneck squash, because they are bushy, so they'll stay low. So hopefully that means I can fit zucchini, squash, and I also have carrots in here that can go underneath the taller things. So on this side of the arch, I have cucamelons. They're supposed to come back and reseed like crazy, and I have just not had luck with that. So this was the end of my seeds of them, and I started them one more time, and the seedlings look good. But I'm hoping that they take off, and maybe if I leave some on to like drop in the bed, this will just be my cucamelon spot. I would not be upset at that. Over here is the silver slicer and white wonder cucumbers. Those are my favorite because they don't get bitter when it gets hot, and it does get really hot here. And I had to plant some more seeds. I'll move the dirt over that. I can see them after. I didn't realize they got uncovered when I watered them in. So yeah, the seedlings looked awful. I don't know what happened with all my cucumber seedlings, because I started so many, and there were literally 3 that survived. I put them in here. One of them's already gone. And the other 2 are not looking great. So I also put some seeds in of the same kind in between them, because I am determined to have cucumbers. Because those are great. I'm about to burn all of this cardboard, but we are on a burn ban right now, so I have a bunch of cardboard piled up to burn. These are awaiting their spot. The basil has a spot in a stack planter up front, so I really need to take that up front and stop leaving it out here in the straight sun. And I think with the tomatoes, I remembered recently that my first year gardening here, I just threw tomatoes in everywhere, like every random place I could, including like next to the AC unit and stuff. And I miss doing that. So I'm gonna crazy garden again this year. So I think I'm gonna have some tomatoes and maybe even some peppers, because I have extra peppers. I might throw them into this bed, the like flower bed, and have tomatoes on the outside of that. I might throw them up there, because they would actually probably love a bog garden setting, because tomatoes are disgusting swamp weeds, but the delicious kind of disgusting swamp weeds. And then it stays pretty wet along the side of the house, so I might put some up there, or I might pull some tomato cages out and put them in the very front yard. I don't know, but I'm gonna have plenty left over. So that is the whole. Yesterday I just did a quick walkthrough for myself of like the tags of everything. But that is the whole garden. There's still quite a bit in here. Whoa, sorry lizard. See that guy? My goodness, he was hiding right under there and ran out when I opened the door. I startled him as bad as he startled me. So some of it's for our personal garden, and then a lot of it is for the Spring Expo. Like I said, I noticed yesterday that like the seedlings that I put in my green, where are they? Like cups like this, that I do my seeds in, they look like this. Like same seeds, same soil. And the ones that I started for the sale look like this. I don't know why they're so small. I'm not sure what the difference was. I feel like I even babied these more because they were for the sale, and I knew if I messed up mine, I could just start more seeds. But so I don't know if they're not big enough by the time the sale comes around. I'm just going to find a spot to plant all these because I can't take this to go sell somebody. That's a sad little guy. But a lilac bell pepper will be so beautiful if I can hang on to it. So this is where I'm at. I started another round of seeds yesterday. And I'm not sure why. I just wanted to. So as I got things planted, I was like, oh, I've got a little more space, or oh, I've got more pots I can find. So that usually happens. But only thing not pictured is all the things on the front porch and the stacked planters, because a lot of it's winter stuff that I need to switch over anyway. So yeah, that's about it. That's where everything's at. April 2nd. And it's a lot farther ahead already than I thought it was going to be, and I'm really excited about hopefully what that means for this summer and how much food we're going to get.